Hello and God bless you. My name is Pastor Mark Tellis. I'm the pastor of Word Awakening Church in Portland, Oregon. And we're so glad that you are able to join us for Bible study. Our study is on prayer. It's a continuation of study on prayer. And what we're going to be talking about today is the secret to Jesus' success and ministry. It was a lifestyle of prayer. And we find in the book of Luke, the 11th chapter, in the first verse, it says, "And it came to pass, as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Lord, teach us to pray, as John also taught his disciples." Out of all the things, just think about this, out of all the things that the disciples observed Jesus saying and doing, the Bible records only one thing that they asked him to teach them, and that was to pray. Why would the disciples ask to learn to pray rather than to teach them to do one of those other big things that Jesus did, such as feeding the multitudes or calming the storms or healing the sick, raising the dead, or even walking on water? Well, it was because they saw Jesus pray before he performed great miracles and before great works that he did. The disciples lived with Jesus, and they went everywhere he went. They observed him. They observed him for 3.5 years. Often the Bible tells us, or it reads this way, it says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, rising up a great while before day, Jesus got up. He left the house. He went off to a solitary place where he prayed." You find this like in Mark, the first chapter in the 35th verse. He went off to pray. He would pray often. And we find scriptures like this throughout the Gospels. And Jesus would get up while the disciples were still sleeping, and he would slip off somewhere by himself to pray for hours. While they were snoring, Jesus Christ was praying. And then the disciples would get up and they would say, "Where's the master?" They would look for him, and then eventually they would find him. And when they found him, they would see him praying. Jesus was praying often. After praying, he would say to them, Let's go to Jerusalem, or let's go to some other location." And where he went, he would spend minutes healing a blind man. Jesus would spend hours doing one thing and then minutes doing another thing. And Jesus continually operated this way. He would spend 5 hours praying and less than 2 minutes casting out demons or cleansing a leper. This must mean that Jesus was doing what he was doing in the morning was more important than everything else he did during the day. This truth is something that even the church, the people of God, seem to yet need to understand. Many times we will spend a few minutes with God and then try for many hours to work in his name. If we are too busy to pray, then we are really too busy. If we are to be successful in ministry or successful in life, we cannot allow ourselves to be too busy to pray, because prayer makes our lives much more focused. It helps us to be more efficient. It also brings about more peace. There's a song that we used to sing, and it goes something like this: this is the day that the Lord has made. You know, we sing that song. And God is saying to us as we sing this song, if this is my day, then why don't you come and talk to me about it? We need to ask God, what is the agenda you have for me today? That's a part of prayer, asking God. We find ourselves doing many things in God's day that he didn't even plan for us to do. 1 hour with God can accomplish more than 10 hours of work. We want to spend time. I encourage you to spend time with God. And this is because you won't be dealing with a trial and error throughout the day. But instead, you'll be doing what God has told you to do. You'll be able to make every action count. Without prayer, we spend most of our day trying to figure out what to do and end up wasting the whole day. Jesus, he explained to the disciples how his intimacy with the Father, how it worked. We find in John, the 5th chapter, 19th verse and 20th verse, the Son of Man can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees the Father doing, because whatsoever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all he does. Christ was saying to us that I go to the Father first. I see what he has already done, and then I do that. This is the pattern he wants us to follow. Remember, prayer is the medium or the process through which mankind discovers what God has already done in the unseen world, so that mankind can give heaven permission through faith to manifest that thing in the earth. Prayer actually saves time. Why did Jesus spend hours in prayer? It was because Jesus had a genuine relationship with the Father. And any relationship takes time to build, and it takes time to maintain. God says to us, you can get more done in my presence than you can accomplish by yourself. Today we've been talking about prayer, and we've been talking about the secret to Jesus' success in ministry, and it was based on a lifestyle of prayer. God bless you.